do you know where Kyron is?
Hey.
Do you know where, Terri, do you know where Kyron is?
Look.
Desiree and your husband are saying that you know where Kyron is. Do you know?
Again, Terri Horman eluding a reporter who'd cornered her in a parking lot asking questions, and she was, again, evasive. Terri Horman, we want to be clear, stepmom of missing 7-year-old Kyron Horman. She's not a person of interest. She's not a suspect. She has been a focus of this investigation. Now we're getting new reports from a court document that she was having an affair in the midst of all this. Also alleges that Terri Horman exchanged graphic sexual text messages with this alleged lover on June 30th. This is a few weeks after little Kyron went missing. So some breaking news there. If you want to comment on that, give us a call as always. 1-877-TEL-HLN is the number. This is breaking news for us. We've been digesting this over the past half hour. HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks with us. Mike, I know you've been poring over these documents here. What do you got for us?
Well, apparently, Mike, one of the reasons that the Kane Horman, they want Terri found in contempt of court, because apparently she took the order over to this person's house who she had been exchanging sexy text messages with, allegedly having an affair, and they made copies of the document, of the court order, which had Kane Horman's new address. Find out where he lived. So, was Kane Horman thinking that, hey, who is this person that she's doing this with? Am I more in fear of my life now because they now know my new address? So, you know, that's one of the reasons they want her held in contempt of court, because apparently she showed these, apparently she wasn't supposed to.
All right. Again, we're taking your calls. 1-877-TEL-HLN is the number. Clinical psychologist Paula Bloom with us as well. Lisa, let's get the soundbite queued up of Kane Horman, Good Morning America, talking about, obviously, as we digest all this, where the marriage could have went wrong. Postpartum depression, that's been talked about a lot. Here he is on Good Morning America. We'll have Paula talk about it coming up.
She went through some postpartum depression after the birth, and her emotional state was just more erratic.
Okay, Paula, you hear the word erratic. The way we understand it, about 6 months after they had little Kiara, she's 19 months old now. She's erratic. Doctor tells Kane Horman, keep an eye on your wife. I believe she's taking some medication. Are you seeing postpartum here, and would it continue 19 months later?
Postpartum can definitely continue for quite a long time. It's actually kind of interesting. You know, a lot of new moms kind of are tired and seem down, and that's sort of what happens when you're a new mom. But when it goes beyond the 2-week period, you got to start paying attention. And if a doctor at, what was it, like 6 months is saying, hey, you need to keep an eye, doctors are pretty good at determining what's going on with somebody. So you can definitely see it if it hasn't gone treated for a long time. But usually, these things, even without treatment, usually about 6 months to a year out, they tend to resolve themselves. Not necessarily, not always, but they can.
And if, okay, and again, she's not a suspect in this, but would she turn her, would little Kyron be the target who's not even her own child? Isn't most of the time it's the baby if it's a postpartum psychosis and becomes a dire situation? Okay,
postpartum psychosis is a different story. So postpartum depression is more common. That happens in about 10 to 15% of the population.
Okay.
Postpartum psychosis is very, very serious. It's much, much more rare. It's the one that gets more attention, like with Andrea Yates and those kinds of cases.
Right.
Because that's when they start hearing voices. They're really disconnected from reality. And so, yeah, I mean, boy, it can be a very serious thing. But postpartum psychosis is extremely rare, very, very rare condition.
Okay.
And it's true. I mean, I've treated a few people with postpartum psychosis, and I have never had a situation where their impulses, the hallucinations telling them to hurt their child has been directed at anyone other than the child that they just had.
Right.
That's just been my experience and my practice.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to continue to follow this. Jane Velez Mitchell coming up top of the hour.